Getting and going again this afternoon. I was having a lot of fun this morning working on this, so got myself a little beer and I'm gonna give this a go. Hope you're having a good night if you're watching, or whenever you come across this. Hope you're having a good day. I'm the Code Mage, and I'm building a fantasy console based on the TI-83 calculator, inspired by anyways, called the My-83. It's going to have a lot more capability than the TI-83 calculator, but yeah. So I've done a prototype up to this point, and now I am building out the real thing. Although as soon as you get into it, it gets a little messy again. But I learned some things about what I did and did not want to do, and what I need to focus on or not focus on. So one of the things that was looking at that kind of caught my eye is this stream of some calculator programming. I think it was this one. And let me see. See this right here. And one of the things, which it might be hard to see, is this down arrow. And that got me thinking too about the idea of building out like a character map, which might be overkill. I wonder if I can find a down arrow among this font that I get, but it's interesting. That's what they use to indicate scrolling, is they replace the colon with the down arrow to indicate, hey, there's more down there. I'm assuming if they went below and went into the next set of frames around this, that it would actually have an up arrow to indicate, hey, there's stuff on both sides of this. Now I wonder if they, like I said, I haven't done this in a while. I wonder if you get to it. You know what I really need to do is just find a TI-83 emulator and just tinker with it. I wonder if you can get one for free here. So this is right off of, oh, this is for the TI-83 Plus, but it should be fairly similar. Like I said, it's not that I want to emulate this or even simulate it. I want a similar feel, so it captures the feeling. It's got very similar commands to it, but in short, you've got more capability. And I might get rid of some of this gray bar, or not gray bar, but the green, classic green, and make it editable and stuff. But so it might be just a discovery time here. I might do some work. I'm not quite sure on it at this point. But I'm here. I did play around earlier. I got the I didn't do this on stream, but I got the foreground and background color setting capabilities up. So that sets it to this ugly purple and yellow scheme. I think I can probably flip that so the background is that purple. And I wonder if it flipped how it will look. But yeah, these colors are not decided on yet. I just picked some colors to throw in there for now. That's another thing I was looking at kind of in the meantime here, was pastel color palettes. I don't know why I've got in my head that using pastel colors might be a decent thematic choice. I don't have a particular love for pastel, but I don't know, there's just something that's screaming out to me. Pastel makes sense, so I might go this route. I don't know, I'll have to figure out. I don't know from I wish I knew somebody. Well, I wish I knew somebody to talk to that could design color palettes. I'll go ahead and do this quick. I'm not even sure how it'll work. I do not know what that is. There should be an online one of these. Yeah, I don't want to get into downloading random stuff off of random sites. So we'll just shut that down for now. Let's see here. I really hate that color scheme I just picked. You know what? Let's go ahead and... If you've never looked at this, Adobe Color is a great place to find some basic palette stuff. It's not the 16 colors I need, but you can explore different... Is it pastel like that? Pastel, pastel, that. This is kind of neat. Just put a sign-in wall. Let's bring these into the fray. I don't think there's enough contrast between them, but as like a set of background colors, might not be too bad. So got like a black and a white, a gray, which I'll leave those for now. But let's take these 4 that I have here, these 5 last ones, and switch them over to be these pastel colors, just to see how it feels. I may end up putting this in another file at some point. I wonder if they give you... You know what, I've always thought, oh man, it's so hard to convert these strings into values, and then I just realized, yeah, duh, they're hex values. I can just use hex literals for that. I've always looked up the RGB values explicitly, and like I said, I feel suddenly very stupid that I've ever done that. For this exact procedure I'm going through, assuming this works the way I expect it to. 0xb9, 0xcd, 0x95, 0xe1, 0xf7, F7, B8, BA, EB, D5. Okay. I was just trying to be clever. Clever! I was looking for this word today, tricky. I used tricky and I was looking for this word. And it just dawned on me, the word I was looking for was clever. I'm trying to be clever with something. My goodness. Alright, so this would be 0. I'm gonna put some comments here just to figure out which one's which. 2, 3. So I have to go based off of their index here. And I know this is just cruft I need to get rid of at some point, but I gotta probably put these in an enum. Once I get actual real established palette, I'll probably do that just so that I have a named value for them. 15. Okay. So that's my color range. And I should really kind of say what these are, just so I know what they are. This is kind of like a purple. This is kind of like a blue, yellow, green. And I put ish after all of these. So what if I did like a yellow front with like a purplish background? So 14 to 12. What did I say? 14 would be the foreground. 12 with the background. Not super great for a menu system, but maybe it might be okay for developing pixel art against. I don't really know, but anyways, I should probably get into some more beefy stuff here. One of the things that I could get done here probably is, you know what? Hey, this is a perfect time to say I've got invalid token there. People are going to put invalid code into their programs. It's like this. So Python is that, not that. So just for fun, let's do that and cause the error here and say, what are we going to do when this happens? So what's going to happen is that it's going to bring you into a particular screen that's an error program that just prints out, hey, there's an error here. And then it's going to bring you back. So I think in the TID3 world, you get this screen. Come on. See, I gotta find an emulator like that. Error, syntax, quit, and go to. Now the go to I won't put in right away, but quit is probably one I can put in. And not necessarily syntax, but it's error, colon, and then the type of error, and then like that. So in this case, it is actually a syntax error, as you can see here. I wonder if there's a classification. I guess I could start to handle that, but so if that does happen, this is basically, this ends. I gotta look up at that case. What am I doing? Wow. One beer, man. So then this would go to a error screen. So this program will end up getting killed at this point. At this point, if it's the OS, it's actually like a catastrophic type error, but how is this going to manifest itself is the question. Well, one thing I need to do in either case here is the idea that this thing is now done with execution and can be removed. So let's say a program has it's done maybe. By default that's false, so we'll set this as done flag true here. And on execute we'll explicitly set it to false. Now the host program computer doesn't currently have an update. One thing I could do, so I could handle this in a couple ways. Either I could have an update that on every, you know, iteration will basically go and say, hey, is there any programs that are done, and just, or is the top program done? And then pop off the stack until they're all gone. Another thing I could do is observe the top program. So when, you know, we boot, or when the program is run, I would set up a callback, or not a callback, a event handler, which might be the way to do it. So instead of having a flag that I'm polling for, you have like public event handler. I don't know, finished, maybe something like that. Then you do that. There's nothing to really send here. We'll just do this as a signal, like that. I suppose it could return like a status code or something at some point, and that gets pushed up through the stack like it was doing. Oh, you know what? This should really return. Yeah, so this is the sender. Okay. So you do something like prog finish. You know what, we're gonna make this, I mean, it's gonna effectively be a list anyways, but we're gonna make this a list instead of a stack. And that's specifically because I don't want to assume that the one I'm popping off is the end. So add will put it to the end, and then that will go with something like programs remove something like that. And now maybe this might have like an actual shutdown flag at some point. And we'll just exit on shutdown. So what should happen if I run this now? Well, I've got an error, so it should have shut down immediately. No, that's not exactly what I want to happen. What I want to happen... Well, there's two ways I could do this. Do I propagate errors back up to the script that's executing? Well, no, because in this case, the script's actually bad. So this is like an OS level thing. So what I might want to do here is to say, is to do something like this. Computer, home screen. Well, this is actually like a menu, I suppose. Yeah, because it's like an error screen. It's a single tab menu. Well, it's not. I mean, it kind of is. It's just, well, I could structure it this way. So if you have a single tab passed into a menu, you don't highlight that tab. That way I could have this as a tab with error type, and then the options to quit or to, you know, eventually go to on it. So in that case, what that would look like is something like this. I would go let me see. It would be an array of tuples. Let's just do like ex. Where the first value is a string. Let's do it like that. This is not what I'm going to end up doing, but and then this would be a array of strings with exit as the option, right? Or quit. Sorry, then I go to computer home screen dot. Now, right now, that could be just a pause. But this needs to be an enumerable of objects, so as in this case, it should pop me an error menu. Oh, that's right. So tuples are actually as enumerables too. So literally, I'm gonna have to do this as like new object array, and this would be a new object array. Doing this on the C# side of things kind of stinky. Yeah, so there we go. Actually, that's kind of interesting. Look at that. Oh no, the Y actually goes all the way to the bottom. So is that the way that it's actually coded here? Oh, see, they do all. all uppercase, which is why it's not a problem. Just something I probably will get in the habit of doing. Ah, stupid S. Hit Control Save, pops in there. Syntax error exception. I'm gonna quit and it exits. Now, because that's in the operating system, that's how that would go. Otherwise, it would just return. Well, now I got to think about that. So, what's going to happen is that when you run program to execute a sub one, so the operating system is literally going to run program. It's going to start a new program and it's going to put it on that list. Now, when it's done, it's going to remove itself. But how does execution return back? Really, what's going to happen is that okay. So I'm just thinking through these cases here. One other thing that needs to happen too is that I need to remove the prog finished from the shutdown event. Sorry. So that it doesn't hold on, otherwise I have a memory leak. And this shutdown true is only if programs.length or count or whatever. 0. Well. There we go. Shutdown equals programs dot, not programs dot any. There we go. One of the things I've learned over the years is to take code that's kind of related to opening and closing something, and them kind of near each other. So begin program, and even though it's kind of standard convention to do this, end program. So these are two kind of paired things together. So the existence of a goto means I'm going to need some sort of editor or some sort of code handler in there. So now if I undo that, now anything will shut it down because the program literally ends at that point. I'm wondering if I should have a goodbye screen that waits for you to actually press a button before shutting down. But I think that's good enough for now. So how this is going to be is that here's home. Clears home, pops up the menu with the options. It's going to continue on display now. There's no way to exit. Oh, what do I still have a syntax error with? Oh, you know what? Python doesn't have the not operator, does it? Yeah. So interesting enough, it looks like nothing happens because what happens is this display runs and it does nothing. So this is where the pause command is going to come in, which I might as well get that figured out here. There's no real clean. I mean, I could probably clean this up a little bit, but there's really not a lot I can do with it. Probably close this to clear home. Oh, hey. Sorry, I missed you there. Yeah, I'm... Hey, thanks for following there, or for watching. You might have left already, but I should probably make it so I can actually see when people are talking to me. Thank you for the like. So I need to make pause actually do something. So pause currently just displays the home screen if it's not already there. And really this is going to be a while the person doesn't press the enter key. So I feel like it should be more than a millisecond. 1/10 of a millisecond would be even better, right? Although with 60, well, yeah. Ooh. That's because the way that I wrote that is that the key was up and now it's, or was down and now it's up. In these, I could change it so that it was up and now it's down. But what I really need to do is abstract this keyboard stuff away so that I can use it here. Across this stuff better. I call this a key transition class. Or maybe I should call it keyboard transition. And all this is going to have is a private keyboard state. at this level. Spelled that all wrong. Keyboard transition. Maybe. Oh crap, I spelled it wrong again. Are you kidding me? I had the A and the O messed up. So when I do a pause, what I need to do here is run might not be safe, but I'm gonna try it anyways. And then this needs to update as we go. Then I'll go that works there. And down here I will get rid of my this and I will run keyboard.update before I start. But I won't because I'm just gonna run it here again anyways. This might still not fix my problem, but we'll see. And this is my right key, so and we'll just copy this for the rest of them. And down. And enter. Not end like I was doing all over today. Okay. Okay, that's not working. Current equals previous. Previous current equals that. Key was down. Or so the previous state was down, and now it's up. Oh, that is vacuously false. All right, that should work. Ooh, there's a little bit of a lag there. Still, the problem persists. So I press enter here. It's down. Now it's up. But before it goes here, it has to be up. Because the was pressed. What is going on? Unless my pause isn't working the way I'm thinking it should. I'm just gonna make this move for a second. See what happens. Let's make sure it should work. It'll blow up on me. Yeah, so now there's nothing I can do. No, it's working just fine. Must have been something in the way that I had it registered before. Or what the better way to do this is. That was true or for like that. Of course, with syntax highlighting, it's now while true. I need to make that weight down so that's literally no time. It feels a little sluggish, actually, surprisingly. So now in the case that I choose 3-0, or actually just 3 in general, but 3-0, that pause is working. Then this is my shutdown. Or I could break, I suppose. So right now nothing will otherwise happen. So I do that, nothing, 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 other than the thing reloads. Because I ran clear home here again and I'm running the menu. And the menu state gets reset. That should shut me down. Perfect. Yeah, I don't know that I want that necessarily to clear. It's just a wasted cycle if I'm exiting. So, got my shutdown working. Again, I think there might be some commands I need to add here for broad display and stuff. So this none, no op, all of those kinds of things, they should actually be generated from a query to see which programs we have. One thing I do want to do here, though, is to think about what happens if the menu goes off the edge or if it goes below, but, you know, maybe I'll just wait until I hit that point. I do need to think about how I structure data input, or not data input, but, so in this one, when I would go here and create a game and enter it in, oof. Oh yeah, I changed the resolution so that this no longer really fits. I need to So these files are actually just on the hard drive, is straight up. They're basically JSON files with a different extension on them. So if we were to go to the bin folder on this, take a look at, Sobieski, for instance, and you're gonna pop in there. Oh, hello. Thanks for those release notes, guys and gals. Oh, I lost my live stream stuff over here. Hold on a second. Did I shut it? No. Here we go. At the end of this, the very end, you see here's the actual code. This is all just empty sprites. I don't know if I want to structure it this way or not. One of the things that's fun that I didn't do in the demo that I tried to do is to create like a virtual file system that's all just in one file. So you've got like a fixed amount of space in that file that's available. And then the file system knows how to partition it. So you have a file system structure. I think I did that with 85 when I was working on this way in like 2017. Or if I've got, yeah, so like so everything was split up into sets of blocks that were allocated. Wow, man, I have not looked at this in a long time. I haven't written C code in a while, so it's bringing back old memories. Like, oh man, I actually wrote all this crazy code. So it goes through searching for blocks of data based on how much is needed. What is a block then? So you've got a table, so it searches through a file table to find an open slot. If there's an existing slot, then it goes through and says, okay, I wonder if basically what would happen is a block would point to what was I doing here? Holy cow. Can't even read this anymore. Oh, man. So this is setting a flag. Okay. So I had this scheme of blocks and sectors. So block size was 640 bytes, I'm guessing. Disk size was, I don't know how I came across this number. About 163 kilobytes. Is that what it is? What's the limit of a TI-83 calculator's RAM or onboard storage? .5 megabytes of flash memory for a TI plus Silver Edition. So it originally had 160 kilobytes available for users and file application, which would explain this number here. 160K block disk size, with 700 or 640 bytes per block. I'm guessing those even out when you divide them out from one another. 163, 840, 640. Yeah, so it's 256 blocks of 640 segments. Was how much disk space you had. And I'm guessing some of that was used up by the there's a table that keeps track of those blocks and stuff. And these are basically interrupt flags to tell it what to do. I wonder what I used all that sector stuff for then. Yeah, so basically partition the disks into chunks and then split up the data across those chunks, and then kept track of them. I'm guessing that each block had a little bit of a header to it, some segment of bytes that pointed to where the next segment was. Yeah, so the blocks themselves have like a or a sector maybe has a How did it know how to reconstruct them is the question. So got the file name. Went out to disk, cleared a buffer, went through the header file name, found the file name. So the file pointer actually has in it how many bytes to read. So this tells me that yeah, I'm not sure exactly how this all works, but so there's definitely a table of data that has the here. So this was my disk device model. And it had a union, so these are raw disk size. This is that same data split up into how many 256 blocks, I guess is the block count. 256 blocks of 640 bytes apiece. And then that's unioned with this header struct, which has 32 bytes reserved at the top, which is probably the maximum number of files I was allowing. Disk block count divided by 8. Okay, so this was, yeah, it's a bitmap of every block. So every block was reduced to, so 8 blocks were reduced to a byte of data. And then I had that all stored here so that I could look up and, without scanning the entire memory bank to see what's block, if a block got used, it would get set up there. So then each file would have in it, again, this is unioned. No. Okay, so this is my actual file table right here. So this whole thing is probably the size of, let me see, a certain amount. I'm not sure what this 32 was reserved for. I might have just put it there for expansion if I needed it. Max blocks is our 32. So that's how much you could take up. So there's a 32 byte. Huh. Okay, so blocks would tell you. You don't really know what would be in that byte array. Huh. I think I was smarter 3 years ago than I am now. Or I yeah, like I said, this is all fun and dandy, but it might not actually get me to my goal. The thing is that I could just serialize everything in and out of JSON. That wouldn't be necessarily the worst thing in the world. So it's not just storing the Python code that's storing those sprites. So one thing, and I want to see if this what happens here if I run this. I don't know if my stream is gonna go wonky or not. That worked just fine. So this Pico 8, if you've never seen it, this is an actual, like the top dog probably of, I thought there was a way. I thought there was a way to tell it to view the directory on the actual escape to toggle editor view, alt and mirror toggle full screen. I don't think that's what I'm looking for. maybe I have to load one to see the additional stuff. So there's a way to export these, but export's not really listed in the help menu. Yeah, I think this just gets stored in a directory out there somewhere. So I could either store it in a directory or within the current file system. The easiest thing would be to just store the, like I had been doing, just put them in the same file and plop them in based on like a flat file format, like JSON or whatever. It's just, do I want to do that? I mean, one thing I could do is just load everything into JSON, sort in one big file, and then load it all into memory every time, and then save it back out to memory whenever stuff changes. That might be a heavy operation, but if I don't make the file too big, it shouldn't be too bad. I could just make a directory that's got all this stuff in it, like I was doing. Yeah, you know what? That's probably fine. So this is where it comes to the point where I want to allow that to happen, but I don't know if I want regular programs to be able to get a listing of programs. So I don't think that was really something the TI-83 allowed you to do. 83 basic commands. Now, I'm not going by that perfectly, but copy var, var, rename, do old. Huh. So here's their whole lineup of stuff. So here's the program command. Memory leaks and stuff. Yeah. Oh, this is interesting. So, branching is local to each program, so you can't use go to blah blah blah. In addition, all variables are global. So changing a variable in one program affects the variable elsewhere. That is not something that's the case with how I was planning on doing this, because I was going to run a subprogram. I was going to run it in its own context. Although I could keep the scope the same, theoretically. When you run prog, you're not actually running an entirely new program. With that stack, there's only ever one program running. But that would mean that your operating system runs in the same place as userland, but maybe that's fine. I mean, the operating system doesn't have to be a Python program. And in fact, maybe it would make sense to have it not be a Python program. Gotta think of that one. So like symbols aren't, so if you had functions that were the same names in both of them, I don't know, that could get really grody really quickly, so I don't think I'm going to keep that the same. So and I do like the idea of having to kind of write the Python code here that does this top level code just for dog fooding purposes. So I think what I can do is just like I have display, I could have like a file system class. Just like it did in my other one, basically. It's not really a file system so much as it's a like program registry, maybe. Let's call it that instead. Just files are just kind of an implementation detail. So what I want to be able to do here is something like programs equals the programs, and then have in here. Now the interesting thing is that their names wouldn't be running it straight like that. I want to map out their names. Something like that. And then I pass in programs here. Because these should have like an actual, like what if you have two things named the same? Maybe we just don't allow that. And then I could just have it be the name straight up. You know what? Let's just do that. So this get programs won't be defined. So I need to make it happen. That would be a string array, but it would be... Might be fine. I'll go like that, just to keep that short term that they use. You know what, nah. Most of the time people aren't going to use this command anyways. So get programs. Just returns a string list of their names. And all this is really going to do is going to go to directory. And we'll make a string. Let's go like that. So whatever your current execution is, it's going to be there. Oh my gosh, switching back and forth between languages that use that stuff different is just anyways, creates all directories in a specified path unless they already exist. Good. Programs directory. So we'll just always make sure it exists. Exactly clear what I'm asking it to do there. So then it would be directory.getFiles at the programs directory with the extension with search pattern PRGM. Then I want to do what I had done before is select path.get file name without extension. Yeah. So this should return nothing. I gotta make it so that that's available. I could make it details where it actually spits out the split this up. This is the programming directory registry dot get programs an action, or sorry, a function that returns a string array. And this is computer get programs. Yeah, it's still a syntax error. Come on. No. Wow, wee woo. Index is outside the bounds of the array. Oh. That was a dumb mistake. That should have failed. Ooh. Ooh. Collection was modified. Why did that run there? How do I get that to happen again? That's the other question. Nothing. Okay. Well, let's get our create file running here. I'm apparently doing a for each somewhere that it just didn't like. So in the case where it is create program, and I can probably eventually just make these Python subroutines, but this would be the 0th equals 2, and selection is equal to 0. Then I want to clear home. I want to, what did I say, create program or something like that, or name. I've already done some research on this. Create game was called create program name. So this will be something like display create program new line, then it will be input name. Is that what I did, or was it a colon? I think it was an equals. Yep. So I get the name back, and then I will have to do something like create program. Now, normally what should happen is that this goes back into, this actually immediately launches an editor program, but we'll go ahead and say you just do a create without opening it. I can just do a write all and just pass nothing. That combine programs directory with name with the extension .prgm. Like that. And we just give it some empty contents. Oh, you can just pass null there. Okay. So what this should do is create the program. I'm gonna register it quick. Now I wonder if I could get this to be, I could probably write some, so I don't have to do this, write some sort of fancy reflection thing, or a source provider, but anyways, or a source generator rather. The program is a new function, takes a string. The other thing I want to do is make it so that these are always uppercase. So even if you write lowercase, it's going to name it uppercase. So I'm going to capture that in the create program subroutine that I just wrote. Now, I wonder if that should be file system enforced. Or if it should be enforced in the program registry has got rules. To upper. I need to make a cursor. Apparently you can't use it to combine that extension onto the end. There. Try that out. So, the question is, why aren't those actually getting values out when it spins back around? So this does create program. It exits. This is not the case. It should flip around, clear, and then it should get the list of programs again. Oh, gosh dang it. I keep getting that set up, messed up. So this should be PRGM. So we'll delete that guy. Okay, so that seems to work. One thing I want to do really quick is actually get that cursor working on the when we're displaying the home screen. So that'll be interesting here. So I don't think the TI-83 actually had a blinking cursor, but 3. Let's watch a video, find out. Should be a nice, decent little calculator program tutorial out there. So they run the program menu. Sorry, they go to new, create new, which is in lowercase, I just realized. Name. Oh, they do have a cursor. What am I talking about? And it does blink for sure. Okay, I will have to get that figured out because I want to keep that style going. So really what it needs to happen is when I'm on input. The cursor doesn't display when I'm in other particular modes. So in input mode, when I've got it, I've got this while loop running. What I need to basically do here is either keep track of a timer or base it on like toggle it based on the count of how many iterations of this loop I've run, which is it's kind of like a naive way to implement that. So how this would look, well, let's just do it that naive way. It'd be like cursor blank equals 0. So every time I do an iteration of this, I do plus plus. Cursor blink. I don't know, it's greater than what, like 1,000. Well, that'd be like 1. Probably get like 600. And then I would either need to toggle or not toggle it, so it's like if the cursor's on, I would do something like cursor. Really, it wouldn't be like cursor right char. It would be like no, it could, well, because that would like treat it like it's off. What I really need to do is say based on the cursor position, set the ooh, interesting. I guess I could do something like this. If cursor's on, cursor display, or you know, what this would do is it would set whatever char cell it's on. But the thing is, it needs to do this like wrapping procedure. So like this could easily bring us over the edge. So I've got to like execute the same. So if this returns here, it actually needs to return like some sort of continuation. So that will run like that. And when I do render, what I'll do is the same process, except the overflow mode is going to always be, well, maybe not. I guess the cursor could run off. That'd be kind of weird, but no, we don't need that. So the overflow mode will be truncate or scroll, just by the very nature of it. I might have to have like a max length type name thing, but so right char at this point would be just putting a new char in the buffer, which is a fixed one. Oh, you know what though? No, this should be fine. This is, what did I say, 129 or something like that? So this is on the menu. I want to look at create and how it's drawn. Oh, it just inverted the range. Didn't actually use a I suppose that's a way to do it, instead of doing an actual cell there. Just do a blank. But I invert the range. So set the background to the foreground or the foreground to the background. In theory, that needs to always happen, so you actually have that run at the upper layers here. When render gets called, it just is always called. The cursor is on. It says inverted or not. So we do cursor on, then we do background, foreground. Or sorry, yeah, cursor on, foreground, background. Actually, this could always just be background, probably. It's just whether I... Actually, there won't be anything in the foreground, so this is inverted what I want. So if the cursor's on, then I want the background to be rendered as the foreground with the background. Otherwise, and the foreground really doesn't matter here, so I'll just make it transparent. So really, I don't need to pass it in, so why would I even pass it in? It should just be background. Or no. What am I talking about? It's really just there's nothing in the foreground to be rendered. So it's just like in color. and it's either the foreground or the background color, but they're all both the same. Okay. And if the cursor's on, it's really I want to be under the background. Let's try that. Or no. No. Dang it. What am I talking about? I don't know, this is tripping me up. Oh. Why do I need that there? Oh, in case of scrolling. So I do need the background and the foreground. Darn it. But I need those separate. I can just press here. So I want to render the background as the foreground. So on foreground. This doesn't really matter. It can just be the foreground. Otherwise, it's the background. All right, let's give that a go. Ooh, that did not take well. What did I do? Has to be something with the way that I extracted that method. Oh, you know what? I gotta put a knot in. So if it's not truncated, or no, it's going to return true if it is truncated, is what I should say. So this should return false. These should be flipped. There. Ooh, that was kind of interesting. So backing, arrowing, it's setting all of those. Because it doesn't clear itself when it goes to the next one. I do need to speed up that flash, I think, though. Won't be exact, but basically every 3 cycles or whatever. Yeah. So when I back arrow, what's happening is that my cursor's correct, but the one that I'm leaving has to be cleared out, because it might have the based on whether the cursor's on or not. So if I back arrow, what I want to do here is say cursor dot render off first. So FG BG false. Yeah. There we go. Okay. I'm gonna clear out some of these. I want to see if I could find that video I was watching before quick. But I think I probably went in a little bit too far. If I can make an editor like that work in Python nicely. If I set it so that I can set the display resolution, I should be able to. Theoretically. Because I think, you know, at this many characters, it's not really good. But if we look at the spec, or at the default spec, it's like there's a lot going on there. Or there's only 32 characters wide, which doesn't really, you know, what is this here? Column 30, so it kind of fit this program is. But if I go to 64, which should be out to here, that'd be more than enough to, you know, go program in there. So, but I think I saw it that when they do the create program here in the menu, it's actually something, it's actually lowercase, so like all ones are lowercase like that. T83 hello world. So it goes in here, goes to create new. So create new is low. It's not create program, it's actually create new. And the program's in uppercase in the menu, so it's not actually create program, it's just program. And then you enter it. And for whatever reason, it's always case. I'm guessing you could put a lowercase in there, but I'm guessing you wouldn't spend the time trying to do that. And they probably limited the length based on, you know, the width that you could do. Okay. So I think shutdown here should be in. Might as well keep going on this route while I'm doing things. I do like the concept of doing this. So if selection equals 3 and then it equals 1, which is the one I just added. Then what I want to do is run a new menu for get resolutions. then it will be you know what? I'm not gonna do this tonight. My brain's too fried for that. I need to think through the some of the options there. For some reason, I want shutdown to be the last thing too, even though it's, you know, it's gonna be the thing that people would use the most. Although maybe not. Maybe we'll just run a escape or whatever. All right. That's one thing too, is that there's no full push down to continue. Okay. So now in FC360, it's connected via an API. What I want is that API to be there, but I don't want it to be the primary editing tool or whatever. So I think what I want to do is make it so the edit actually has a module that would run. The question is, do I write that in Python here or not? Because it's going to get a little... It's probably going to get a little hairy. But theoretically, I should be able to. I shouldn't have any problems with doing that. So it should be like... in fact, like, this should really be a... And actually, this is not how you write Python code. Is that to do a... No, edit program is menu option 1, any selection. And what I have to do is programs at the selection index. What I really should do is do this. So it's like option equals Or I could do like this. So instead of and, this is a tree. Just like that. So I need an define run edit program. Run program. This all should still work just fine. Oh yeah, unbounded name exception. Unbound name exception. What the heck does that mean? Interesting. So I went here. So I picked tab index 1, program index 2. Oh, program is undefined. Need programs, plural. Interesting though. Okay. So edit program in Python would keep the entire contents in memory, and then it would not sure how that's going to work yet. But run program will be something like this, PRGM. And this will be a command that gets passed in. Even though that's not quite the way it's run. I'll make it run program. As much as I want to follow, like clear home, the best I could do is probably PRGM like that, run program. Change this to create PRGM. And edit, did I have another program? In terms of, oh yeah, it's get PRGMs. There we go. So I'll change that inside of the API. And this wouldn't be the program registry. This would actually be on the computer dot run program. Maybe. Actually, doesn't need to be like that at all. Maybe I do only have one run. Let me try this. GM. So here what I would do is extract the code out of the actual file, so it'll be like file dot. Want to do this like create file name. Create program file name. Then here I would go file.read all text. Get program name. Just assume it's code for now. It's just Python code. I do want to put sprites and stuff in eventually, so but for now, I guess I could just might be able to just devise a plan where I just inject that at the bottom of the Python code and write out code as is. So code, and then what I would do here is actually do need to pass the computer. So this creates a new program. Once I execute it, it actually needs to block the caller. And it could potentially run a program within it as well. And continue to just do that as a stack push, stack push, stack push, stack push. I think I'll handle that here, not at that road level. So this does load the boots the operating system as expected. The difference is that there's no blocking thread on this one, but there is when you're running a sub-program. So when we say boot, this could be So this is going to create a program, and then it really needs to sit there and run in context until it gets until it's done. So really this process I have here of doing this finished is not what I want to do, I don't think. What I could do is have this actually return the task, like this. Because that actually will have this finished concept art in it. As soon as execution's over, it's over. So really here, this would go back up here. This would run. And unlike the other ones, it's the other thing is I don't actually need to keep track of this either. It just runs. I mean, if I wanted to keep a call stack, I suppose, but it's really like execute, then I've implemented this before. Oh yeah, it's continue with. Or continue. What was that? Oh, configure wait. So it's continue with. And then this is an action that takes T, which I don't really care about. Then. And this would just set shut down through. And then exit the cycle. Theoretically, this should work the same. Yep, perfect. Okay, so then I do the same thing here, but instead of actually asynchronously waiting for it, what I do is I literally poll while prog task dot is completed, is not completed, then I sleep this thread. For a millisecond or whatever. And maybe that should be longer, but okay, so now if the operating system does that, executes the run program, what I should be able to do is crack open one of these PGRM files and write just a very simple program in it. I'll go with Sobieski is my favorite. And this will be just a really quick hello world type thing. So it'll be display hello from, or it will be clear home world from Sobieski. Then I will pause, and then execution will end. That's it. So that's the entire program. So if I've run this correctly, or done this correctly, I should be able to execute that. Press enter, comes back. Oh, it's so simple, it actually worked. One thing that they do have on the weight screen for this or whatever is they have like a spinner up in the corner. And that's, I think now I understand why they have the actual, on the TI-83, the last pixel in this column and the last pixel down here, actually you can't write to them. And that's because they're reserved for operating system uses to feed you information, I guess. Excuse me, so yeah, that's really cool. So now I can run arbitrary programs. I could theoretically write a game in it at this point with just with menu system games. Not graphic games, so it's fitted like a T83 menu game. Like, I guess paper, rock, scissors, I could write it. Oh, geez, I could technically write a snake type game like that. Oh, see, there's the little pixels going like that. Like I said, that's probably why you can't actually write to the 96th pixel here. And now on the font itself, it leaves that, so it's only actually 5 characters wide, and the 6th one is cleared right there. So like I said, I could theoretically build this, but I think it would go too fast. I'd have to think about clock cycles and stuff like that, and how to slow down the whole deal. But yeah, so far so good. Making progress here. So I should be able to do something like edit and have that appear in here. You know what, I could just do a simple I could make a simple get. So I have like a create program. I could have like a read code or something like that. A read program. I really should have this editor written in here though. Then I could say that about the whole operating system code. So why am I writing in Python? Do a program. Read program is a function that takes a string and returns a string. Yep. I could have it eventually turn an object, not just the code. But here what I would want to do is output. I don't think I've registered output yet. Maybe I haven't. 0, 0. So can you interchangeably use single quotes and double quotes in Python? And why would you choose to do that? And what's the convention, I suppose? Python strings, single or double quotes. I like to use double quotes around strings that are used for interpolation or natural language messages, and single quotes for small symbol-like strings, but it will break rules if the string contains quotes. Or if I forget, I use triple quotes for doc strings, literals, blah, blah, blah. Suppose that makes sense. You know, and I think I'm going to stick with that too. The real cool thing is I wonder if I could get some syntax highlighting working eventually in this. I should be able to. It's just a simple, it's not simple, but it's a concept here of output is, I mean, I would set the foreground, output some data, and then set it back to what it was. Do you actually have output wired up or not? I don't. And output is row column text. So using the string. So, I mean, theoretically, what I need to do here is actually track each line of code and output it line by line across the thing without scrolling. So, so I need to have like a section defined as to where, so I can scroll up and down based on the number of lines. So I think, so it's been a long time since I've done programming in Python, but Python is a split, string split Python. Yeah, dot split breaks it up into lines, so I can do like this, dot split. And I think split does it on whatever, but I want to do it on new lines. And let's just say, I'm going to, just for the sake of doing this, I'm going to say that there's 10 lines I want to display at any given time based on the cursor. So, I'll not quit. Output that. There will be eventually the get key in here, but I'm just going to use pause, I think, for that. And I am going to put a quit. It's quit reserved word. I want to say that it is. There's end reserved word. I don't know. So this would be for 0 to 10. Well, I could slice what I want, so I think I can do from 0 to some index 10. Is it like that? Python list slice. Start stop. Yeah. I wonder if that breaks if there's less than 10. Is it like that? 4-line and rain line. Oh, so I don't need to do range, just 4-line inlines. Like that. I think that might... I don't remember if split keeps the new line in there or not. But we will find out. Oh, it did. Yeah, I did. Whoa. I have to clear home first. But... And this has got to contain a new line at the end. So I think in the editor for this stuff, it actually has each line of code begins with a colon, which is just like a like, I don't know if that actually gets stored with your code, but the editor has it that way. Yeah, so like these colons show each line, so you know when a new line is started. So I could do like this, display colon plus line. Now editing will be interesting because really what I need to have is the cursor now visible wherever I'm going. So I can arrow up and down and add new lines and enter and at will. Which is not how the cursor's set up, so I might need to redesign the cursor, but yeah, that's the Sobieski program. Wonder how that's going to look with the broader screen display. Which I have set here. So let's go with resolution 2. A lot smaller. Try to look nicer at this resolution. Definitely looks scrappy here. Yeah, it's not coming over nice, and this might be the way that's clamping or whatever, but in terms of code editing, that's definitely more than enough space. Yeah, I don't really like how it's doing the... Ugh. Okay. We'll set that back though. don't like how I lose the state of where I was at. When I switch between tabs or whatever, it's like it should. I mean, I guess it should kind of reset, but I could have it where, I go down to 4, and if I go over, it just tries to find the closest value to that is within range. The other thing that I was thinking about, well, maybe I'm not thinking about it anymore. I should probably have escape do the same as enter on this pause screens, so it is really difficult to understand what you're doing. So I could have the cursor instead of wiping itself. Let me do that really quick. So well, the cursor, like, oh, hi. Sorry, I missed it. Is this going to be a console within a game, or is this an idea the games will be run with this console? Games will be run with this console, Jack. So I know it looks pretty primitive right now, as it would be, but I want to capture the essence of the TI-83 calculator, which I used to write games for, people have written games for. At least in the way that you interact with it, I want to still have the menu system and stuff, so you can write menu-based games, but in Python, but it should feel a little bit like reminiscent of the TI-83 calculator. But then it's going to support, I think, 16, like people wrote Doom in it, so it's going to support 16 colors, and there will be a sprite mode and all of that stuff. So the current spec I'm running off of in terms of, which I realize now I have to update this to include program commands, is there will be a home screen mode, which is what you saw there, where you've got essentially console, text console, and that'll operate in this 32 by 16, 16 by 8, or 64 by 32 characters, based on the resolution. And then these are all the options, although I think I'm going to axe title at this point. I don't think I'm going to use that one for now. I might add it back in the future, which, come to think, I'm going to really quick clear that out of here. I'm going to do that. Or there's going to be a graphics mode with drawing, and they had the draw mode in the TI-83 calculator for TI Basic, and we mostly use it for drawing graphs and stuff like that, but people would use it to make games as well, and I think I did a few. This is probably a game, maybe. But you should be able to switch seamlessly back and forth. And the thing that they don't have in there is the sprite mode, and then stroke and fill. So these ones are all new to what is otherwise pretty similar to the TI-83. But the sprite one will be very similar to sprite in, like, I don't know if you've seen Pico. I did this earlier. So like Pico 8 here. I'll just grab one off of here. I don't know if I can find Celeste pretty easily or not. I don't know. We'll do this one. Yeah. But anyways, that'll be very similar to the stuff in here that you can run around and edit. I'm not sure if I'll have the mouse input like they do, though. I mean, it makes it easier for editing sprites and stuff like that. But again, I'm trying to get the feel for that calculator thing, which was all done on the keyboard, or the the many 50 key TI-83 calculator keyboard. So, and that's, I guess, the essence of a fantasy console. Is it tries to bring back memories of something you used to do, which I used to spend so much time hacking on this stupid calculators that, yeah. But I would like to get this working in terms of being able to go around, make edits, and then save it. And also syntax highlighting would be, I think, really, really cool to get working in this as well. I'm going to actually try to work that into the Python portion of it, I think, though, and actually write the entire editor in Python. Again, so that I have to force myself to think about how to write programs in Python. So, but it's 8:12. I think I might call her good for the night. I'm going to go ahead and actually, really quick, I'm going to update these program registry commands in the README. Just copy them out of there. Oh, I still have this running? Why is it still running? Oh, that was weird. I think I was just looking at the wrong thing. I'll fill in the descriptions tomorrow, but I just want to get this in here. Maybe off camera, so I'm not boring people. Yeah, thanks. Follow along. I'm thinking at some point in time, I'll do probably just some smaller update videos where I'm just going over what I've done, and instead of doing live coding, I might do a intro to, or like a what is a fantasy console thing, and video at some point too, and then lead into this with like I said, updates that aren't. Maybe do a what I could also do, because I've done most of the work on live stream, is to do one of those was it time lapse videos where I just, within 5 minutes or whatever, you see all my edit, or all of my screencasts. So, but I'm gonna go ahead and save this. I think. Cool. Well, I'm going to take off. Thanks for following along, and just have a good night.